So you were already rapping when you joined a gang.
Oh yeah, 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 definitely.
Okay, and were you Brother Lynch Hung back then, or did you have a different name?
No, I was ice cold.
Ice Cold.
Yeah, everybody started telling me it sounded too much like Ice T, so I had to change it up.
Okay, so you went from Ice Cold to Brother Lynch Hung. And
Yeah,
how did the name Brother Lynch Hung come together?
my brother Six, 666 Bounty, he gave it to me because I used to lynch rappers when we used to battle. We grew up in the battling age, and we used to go around to every school in Sacramento, and I would battle the rappers. And my brother would say, "Damn, you lynched them motherfuckers." You know what I mean? He said, and then he started saying, "This is my brother Lynch introducing me." And then I put the hung
Okay,
on the end.
and you put the hung on the end, right? Because the whole lynching thing. Now, were you battling anyone that ended up becoming famous later on, or not really?
Well, couple people in like more on the hip hop side, you know, I forgot his name back then, but I guess he got some type of major deal right now. I can't remember his name though, but a couple of them became major. A couple of them just stayed kind of local.
Okay, so you're rapping, and you're doing it as a hobby. At what point did it start to look like, okay, this might be something I could actually make some money off of and turn into a career? Because back then there was no social media, there was no
Yeah,
SoundCloud. If you wanted your music out, you had to spend money to press up CDs and
yeah, yeah.
give them out, sell them, whatever else.
Well, I'd never expected to even come out with a record, period. You know what I mean? I was just gonna do it till I didn't feel like doing it no more. And then all of a sudden, Black Market Records came around. This guy owned a little record company. He had already put out a couple rappers that did okay. And that kind of made me like, wait a minute, okay, here's a little opportunity. Let me see what this dude's talking about.
So like after you left, Black Market, how difficult was it to actually put out these projects on your own?
Well, it already had a plug into some distribution. You know what I mean? I have a Made Sick label right now that's still with the same distribution that Black Markets was using when they were putting me out. So I've been in touch with them for almost 20 years. So it wasn't a hard transfer over to releasing my own stuff. I just had to go get an LLC and all that and get my label right. You know what I mean? First of all, come up with the label name, which took a little minute. That's why I had that big break. When I wasn't dropping any albums, I was just trying to handle the business part of it. And then I already had the distro, and it pretty much started from there.
Right, and you were doing your own production and your own lyrics.
Yeah, Season of the Sick. Now, I've always done all my production until I signed with Strange.
Okay. So before you signed with Strange, I had heard that Insane Clown Posse wanted to sign you.
Yeah.
Okay. Why not go to Insane Clown Posse? Because they have a pretty serious movement out there.
Yeah, they really do. I thought about it. I never talked to anyone, so it just sounded like a rumor to me. Strange actually approached me, but I've never talked to any of them. They invited me to the Juggalos, the gathering and shit, and all that, but I've never literally talked to one of them.
Okay. But Strange Music and Tech Nine and the whole ICP thing kind of overlap a bit.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, they
Yeah,
did.
because Tech Nine performs at the Gathering of the Juggalos and all that.
Yeah, that's how I got through it when I signed with Strange. They invited me too.
Okay. So now you're on Strange Music. Now it's not a major, but it's like a major independent.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what was it like being on that type of label at that point in your career?
It felt like a major. Felt like a major label. Seems like a major label. The outfit that they have looks major. All the offices, major. You would think if you just walked up in there for the first time that it was a major label.
Yeah. I don't think people realize how rich Tech Nine is.
Yeah, I don't know how rich he is, but I do know Travis is.
Let me tell you,
Like
Tech Nine rich as fuck.
He got businesses before he met Tech, so he was already doing good.
Yeah. And and I noticed that once the music went to Strange, it seemed like it just sounded bigger. It sounded like there was more money behind the projects,
Oh,
behind the
definitely,
mixes, everything else like that.
definitely. You could see the big difference.
And of course you start getting all the features from all the Strange artists and everything else like that. Like what really started to change now that you got on Strange?
I developed more of a sense of order. I had to tone my record down a little bit, my records down, because they're trying to do a certain, they're trying to blow that up. You know what I mean? So, tone my records down, but it taught me order. It taught me how to, handle business a little better. Seeing what was going on around there taught me about merch and how important that is, because I wasn't thinking like that at all. You know what I mean?
Right. And I saw a video of yours. You could tell me the name of it. It was where you had the girl tied up in the
Yeah.
room.
Yep. Meat cleaver.
Meat cleaver, right. And in the beginning, there's this big, explanation from the label saying, we don't exactly agree with this, but we want to let him do his artistic thing, even though this is going to offend pretty much everybody. And here you go.
Yeah. I appreciate them letting me do it though, because I've said some things even with Black Market that he's like, "Ooh, I don't know if you should say that." And I'm out of control with that. I don't know what it is. I want to be able to say what I want to say.
Right. I mean, that video was something out of a Dexter episode.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
I mean, you got a girl tied up and, with a gag over her mouth, and essentially it looks like you're cutting off pieces of her and eating them.
Yeah.
What was that conversation like when you brought that to the label and say, here you go, I want y'all to put this out?
Well, they knew my direction, so they kind of helped me with that. So they were totally on my side. They knew the direction I was going with this 3-album trilogy, and they pretty much put it together. I don't think I would have been able to even do the 3-album trilogy without them. So
yeah, and some really dope projects, and I think it's great how a label like Strange could get an artist that's been out for a while and really kind of make it seem fresh again. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to just trying to find some teenager and try to blow him up.
That's exactly what they did. They revived me. I was thinking, I had just met the wife I'm with now. Not saying I was going to give up, but I was in love. I wasn't thinking about music at all until they came and snatched me up. Yeah. I don't know how long that would have lasted if they didn't.
That's quite a statement. Was Tech Nine like a personal fan? Was he the one who drove that?
Well, he did say that. He said, "Man, I was a big fan of yours." So I was like, "Really? You're the one doing it now. What are you talking about?"